Today's English video will teach you 50 phrases for your love life. Let's get started. I'll teach you all the phrases you need to know for talking about your relationships and your love life. Do you have a crush on someone?
Crush.
If you have a crush on someone, it means that you have someone you are interested in romantically, but you have not told them yet. So you might be a female and you might say, I have a crush on Michael. This means Michael doesn't know it yet. He maybe could guess. You haven't told him, but you seem to kind of like him. So typically when two people have a crush on one another, it means they like each other and they're probably going to start to date if one of the people make the first move.
You never make the first move.
So what does it mean to make the first move? This is an idiom that means that one person will kind of be forward with the other. They will initiate a romantic relationship. So they'll say, hey, do you want to go on a date with me? Or, hey, I really like you. So this is the first move, as we say in English. And this is just a common idiom that means who is going to be the first person to initiate a relationship or a conversation even. Do you know what it means to fall for someone? This idiom means that you start to like someone romantically. I didn't want to like them, but I really fell for them. This means that whatever the person has done has just really made you think that they're a kind and loving person and you want to have a romantic partnership with them.
Maybe someday you'll fall for someone who's healthy.
Another great idiom for relationships is to be head over heels for someone.
You're head over heels.
So this phrase, you can say this, I am head over heels for my husband. Or if you are not married to someone or even in a relationship with someone, you could say, I am just head over heels for this person. Or they are both head over heels for one another. It means they are deeply, deeply in love. A really common question that we ask in English is, do you believe in love at first sight?
It was love at first sight.
If you see someone and literally from the second that you see them and meet them, you are in love with them, we say it's love at first sight. So this just describes the feeling that even without getting to know someone, you just know that you love them and you want to be with them in a relationship. And oftentimes some people say, no, I don't believe in love at first sight, which means that you don't think that you can fall in love with someone immediately. You have to get to know them first. Do you believe in love at first sight? Let me know in the comments. Another relationship question that we commonly ask in English is, do you believe in soulmates?
As your soulmate.
So we describe someone's soul as, everything that makes up their being, not physically, just, their emotions, their personality, things like that. So if someone is your soulmate, you believe that, whatever it might be, the forces of the universe, religion, they have destined you to be together with this person. And this person is absolutely meant for you. Some people believe that their soulmate isn't someone who they're romantically involved with. They think maybe their friend could be their soulmate, or I've heard some people say their dog is their soulmate. That just means this person was meant for you. Everything about them and yourself is just perfect together. Dating, going steady, and exclusive. These three phrases can all mean the same thing, that two people are officially in a relationship and they want everyone else to know. So I would say out of these three, the most common phrase is to say, yeah, we're dating. This means we're together, we're not seeing other people.
No dating.
Yeah, no
dating.
Now, going steady is a really outdated phrase, but you will still hear old people in the United States say that two people are going steady, and this means the exact same thing as dating. They just are officially in a relationship. They like one another.
It's like going steady, going steady.
And the last phrase you will hear a lot, and you will even hear it in movies and television shows. When people say that they are exclusive, it means they are officially dating. They're not dating other people. They're exclusive to one another. So they won't be, talking to other men or talking to other women. They only are with one another. Two important phrasal verbs that you need to know for romantic relationships are, of course, to break up and to make up.
Break up.
When you break up, you end a romantic relationship. We can also have friend breakups, which means, we don't agree with our friends anymore. Maybe we had a big fight or a big falling out, which is a really big fight, and we just don't like each other anymore. So then if we become friends again or we become romantic partners again, we make up. This means that we apologize. We say, I'm sorry, let's get back together, let's make up. So breakup and makeup are opposites. Breakup means ending the relationship, and makeup means starting the relationship again after apologizing.
No making up?
Now, many people have probably watched the show Friends that are watching this because it's one of the most common ways to learn English is by watching the television show Friends. Of course, you remember Ross and Rachel. They were on a break.
We were on a break! We were on a break!
We were on a break.
I don't actually hear people say this phrase a lot anymore when it comes to relationships. But in the episode where they are on a break and, they're arguing whether it was a break or they broke up, it means that you have basically decided to pause your relationship, whether it be because you had a small fight, but it doesn't mean that you are officially ending the relationship. If you are married to someone and you are thinking about getting divorced or not being married to one another again, you might separate. So you can say, I'm separated, which means you are not legally divorced. Your marriage has not ended in the eyes of the government, but you are not living with them anymore and you're not really romantically involved anymore. Sometimes people separate and don't legally get divorced, but then if they make up, they can get back together and continue on their marriage. So separating and divorce are kind of in the same world of phrases in English. And usually if you separate, you do get divorced if you were married before. Let's talk about some more happy phrases for relationships. When you get engaged to someone, it means you plan on marrying them.
Engaged.
In the United States, the most common way in relationships that people get engaged is the man gets down on one knee, opens the ring box and says, will you marry me? And if the woman says yes, they are engaged. Of course, relationships are all different today, so this isn't always how it works. And some people are even more casual than this. They just decide one day that they're going to get married. And before they actually get married, they say that they are engaged. I'm engaged to my fiance.
The fiance.
Let's talk about these two words that we borrowed from the French language, fiance and fiancée. And if you're wondering whether or not these two words have different pronunciations, the answer is no. When a man and a woman are engaged to be married, they will both call each other their fiancé. And I don't even think people are too worried about the spelling of fiancé in English because, of course, it's different in French when you're talking about the woman and the man when you spell fiancé. So for the time before you actually have your wedding and your wedding ceremony, you can call your future husband or your future wife your fiance. And this is only if you guys are engaged. You have already announced that you are planning to get married. When two people finally get married in the United States, for a short period after they are married, typically about a year, we say that two people are newlyweds. This means that they are recently married.
Newlyweds?
Well, you guys are newlyweds. This means you have gotten married probably in about the last year. There's no official time period for being newlyweds, but this is typically the amount of time that we call two people have just gotten married newlyweds. Maybe you get some new neighbors that move in an apartment next to you or a house next to you, and they have just gotten married. You can say they are newlyweds. Now, if you are single, which means you are not in a relationship, you are not really even talking to anyone or married, you might want to get on the apps. This is a new phrase. I am too old to have ever gotten on the apps. I got married too long ago. But basically, it means that you are on dating apps. So oftentimes when people break up with a boyfriend or break up with a girlfriend, people will tell them you got to get on the apps. This means that you have to start looking to date by using dating apps. And I'm not sure if it's the best way to meet someone, but it seems to be pretty common nowadays to meet on a dating app. Let's talk about some ways to describe relationship issues, because there are so many issues when it comes to dating, being married, being in relationships. If you want to say that a relationship between two people is in trouble because maybe they've been arguing a lot and having difficulties, you can say their relationship is on the rocks. Or you could even say my marriage is on the rocks. It just means it is in trouble. When people are in the dating world, they start dating, and oftentimes, well, I'm not sure if it happens often, but it does definitely happen to people where one person in the relationship just completely cuts off contact. They decide not to talk to the other person anymore, and they don't even give them a reason why. This is called ghosting. So to ghost someone means to not talk to them at all anymore. Like you become a ghost, basically, invisible, and you do not give them a reason why. And of course, this is very, very unethical to do to someone. You should never ghost them because it leaves them with a lot of questions, like if they did something wrong, and it's very hurtful to ghost someone or just basically stop talking to them and not giving them a reason. Oftentimes, when we want to talk about a relationship where two people are just not right for one another, they have just not treated each other very well, they've done a lot of bad things to one another, you can say that their relationship is toxic. It's just bad for both people involved.
And it was like a very toxic relationship.
If you know a couple and they're just always arguing and it's just kind of exhausting to be around, you can say they have a toxic relationship. If we call a person individually toxic as well, it might mean that they, again, start a lot of problems, they argue a lot, they are just not a nice person. A very, very complicated situation that we have in relationships sometimes is a love triangle. So this would be when there are three people involved in kind of a toxic relationship drama.
Love triangle drama.
So maybe there is a girl and she loves a man, she's dating him, but then maybe she starts to like another guy as well, and she can't choose between which person she wants to be with. And they're both kind of getting mad at her, and they're getting mad at one another. There's three people. It makes a triangle. And in this situation, whether it's, two men, one woman, or two women and one man, we call it a love triangle. Oh, you're in a love triangle right now. This just means that there's one person that can't decide which person they're going to date and be with. And of course, if someone is in a relationship and they are going outside of the relationship, whether it means they are, having an emotional affair or a physical affair, it means they are cheating. If you are cheating on someone, it is very, very wrong. There are more formal ways you can say that someone is cheating. You can say they are not being faithful. You can say there is infidelity going on, meaning there's a main relationship, between a husband and a wife. If someone is having some infidelity, it means they are trying to, date and interact with other people romantically outside of the relationship. So cheating and infidelity is really bad. It's, not a good thing to do in life. You should always be faithful and committed in your relationships. Let's move on to one of my favorite topics we're talking about today, romantic gestures. Of course, one of the most innocent, cute, romantic gestures is holding hands. We often say when children are young and they're kind of, in love, but they don't really know a lot what it means to be in a relationship or be committed to someone. They're just very young. We call it puppy love, meaning they love each other right now, but they probably won't always forever. So maybe they'll hold hands if they are having puppy love. If someone is trying to express that they are interested in dating someone or being romantic with them, and, they're laughing a lot and they're making jokes, or maybe they're poking fun at the other person just to kind of interact with them, we call that flirting. So to flirt with someone just means to interact with them to try to get their attention or, be cute with them romantically.
Flirting? You think I'm flirting with you? I am not flirting with you!
We talked about getting married, getting engaged, being fiancés, but when someone is going to ask another person to marry them, we have a phrase that is meaning this. We say they are going to pop the question.
Oh, I popped the question.
Do you think that he's going to pop the question to her? This means ask her if she wants to marry him. The question is, will you marry me? So when we say pop the question, we mean, are they going to propose or try to become engaged? When one person is really trying to impress another person, really make them fall in love, they're doing really romantic things, like maybe they're buying them gifts, taking them to nice dinners, and just saying nice words to them, like, you look beautiful. We have an idiom that means they are trying to, get them really interested and in love with them. They are trying to sweep them off their feet. So a lot of times in movies, the main character gets swept off their feet, meaning they fall in love really quick with another character who's very kind and romantic to them. One idiom that I always like to quiz foreigners on is, what does it mean to tie the knot?
Tying the knot.
In English, it means to finally get married. So when did you guys tie the knot? This means when did you actually get married? So to tie the knot means the same as to get married or even just to have a wedding. We're going to tie the knot next summer. And then another way that we playfully refer to weddings is the day that you say I do. And when we're saying wedding vows in English, in the United States especially, we ask the person, do you, vow to love them forever? Do you vow to do this, do that? And the person is supposed to say, I do. This is the most common way that you agree to getting married during a very formal wedding ceremony in the United States. I do.
I do.
I do.
There are so many terms of endearment in every language. These are just little names, little cute nicknames that you call your partner. So let's go over a few in English. Promise me not to laugh. There are people that say these names, whether they seem silly or, very serious. I just want to make sure you guys know all of these and know that people really do use these, even though some of them seem kind of ridiculous. So we, of course, can start with darling, honey, sugar, all these sweet names. We can even say sweetie, babe, baby. Sometimes we even just say, this is my love right here. My love, can you come over here? These are all very common terms of endearment. Some that seem a little funny, but people really do say are snookums, come here snookums, or pookie. There's a really common couple on social media that call each other pookie, and it's kind of cute, but it's kind of weird at the same time. I'm sure you have these same sort of names in your language that just sound silly, but people really do call one another when they're very in love. Let's talk about physical attraction in your relationship. We're going to keep it PG today because, I don't want this video to only be for adults. It can be for everyone. So first, let's talk about a hug. Of course, you know what a hug is. It's an embrace. You just hug someone. We often talk about cuddling or snuggling with someone that we love. Of course, you can cuddle or snuggle with a child or even just a friend as well. It just means you kind of sit warmly next to them. Maybe you're watching a movie or just hanging out on the couch, just being next to each other. You're cuddling or you're snuggling. Did you know in English, we either say that people are kissing or they're French kissing? So a kiss would just mean a simple kiss. A French kiss is a bit more passionate, a bit more adult and mature. And sometimes in English, in the United States at least, we call this making out. I remember when watching the Harry Potter movies, British English speakers would always say snogging, which sounds disgusting.
Let's make out.
A quick kiss that you could give to a friend or your mom or just a child would be a peck. We call that a peck. Give them a peck. Or just, kind of a funny kiss would be a smooch. A smooch would be what we call, a kiss between two people where they're just kind of being playful about their kiss. It's not super romantic if two people are smooching. Let's finish off this fun lesson today with some idioms talking about love. Do you have someone in your life that you would describe as the one that got away? We call a person the one that got away when they are someone that we loved and maybe the relationship didn't work out for some reason. And we say, if it would have worked out or would have been the right timing, we probably would be in love now, married, having kids, whatever it might be. They were the one that got away.
That got away.
And sometimes we use this in a very serious manner. And sometimes we say this in a more joking fashion, like, my boyfriend when I was 5 years old, the one that got away. Some people are very emotional and they let people know exactly how they're feeling. And for this type of person, we say that they wear their heart on their sleeve. So this can be a pretty positive way to describe someone. It means that, they're very passionate and they show people how they're feeling. And they show people that they love them very easily. They wear their heart on their sleeve.
Wear my heart on my sleeve.
There is a whole dating show dedicated to this idiom. The phrase is love is blind.
Love is blind.
This means that when one person loves another person, they might just love them so much that they don't see the faults in the person's characters. They don't see the things that are wrong with them because they just love them so much. It describes the feeling of being able to see past people's faults just because you love them. On the dating show, Love is Blind, I believe the two people start dating and they can't see each other. So, it's trying to decide if you love someone based on entirely their personality instead of their looks. Hopefully, when two people are getting married, one person does not get cold feet. When we say that someone has cold feet before a wedding or a marriage, it means they're having second thoughts about something. They're reconsidering whether or not they want to spend the rest of their life with this person. Maybe they're just nervous about the commitment to get married. So that's what we mean when we say that someone has cold feet. It means they might be nervous about getting married. Oftentimes, people will date a lot in the United States in their 20s, but it's important for them to settle down by the time they turn 30. This means it's important to them to find a partner that they are going to commit to in a relationship and someone who they can see themselves getting married to and having kids, just not being so, in the lifestyle of dating and partying and things. They're settling down. They're trying to live just a simple family life. And when two people are in a relationship and one person either cheats or just breaks up with them out of nowhere, it means that they have broken the other person's heart. I hope you've never experienced having your heart broken, but this is just a common idiom we use to say when someone is devastated at the end of a relationship.
You're breaking my heart.
I can't wait for you to use all of these phrases in your everyday love life. Thank you so much for learning with me. Check out EnglishWithKayla.com for more lessons like these, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!